crashing. It crashed. But I think actually if I just click the stream button again, that it'll continue streaming to the same thing. But if you want to support this show, you can make a donation if you like this content at realsimplenews.net/donate. You can make a donation via PayPal. I've given everything to this show. I've sacrificed everything. My safety is in danger. People threaten me. My family's life is in danger. And I've done all of this to help protect America from Black Looter Mob, from Antifa Nazis, from Chinese Nazi Party, Democrats, cartels, ISIS. So I need support. I know you're poor. So am I. I'm only wearing a suit because I got it from the Goodwill. Other than that, I've given everything, and I need people to like these posts. I need you to subscribe. I need you to share the videos on social media so we can get the word out of the insanity that has hit America. This next article from Hacker News: drug cartel assassinates its enemies with bomb-toting drones. This is from thedrive.com. Always look up your sources. It's from a hacker. You can't trust these people. Might be China. We don't got a NewsGuard certification. We're going to trust them because obviously the cartel would do this stuff. It says Mexico's drug cartels are notoriously well armed and equipped, with some possessing very heavy weaponry, including armored gun trucks sporting heavy machine guns. Now, at least one of these groups appears to be increasingly making use of small quadcopter drones carrying explosive devices to attack its enemies. This is the largest example of the trend that's been growing and worldwide in recent years, including among non-state actors such as terrorists and criminals, which underscores the potential threat commercially available unmanned systems pose on and off the battlefield. A civilian self-defense militia in the city of Tepalcatepec in Mexico. Sorry, I'm having trouble pronouncing that one. Southern Michoacan state reportedly recovered 24 explosive-laden quadcopters from a car that a team of Sicarios, cartel hitmen, had apparently abandoned, possibly after a failed or aborted hit on July 25th of 2020, filled with C4 charges and ball bearings to act as shrapnel. Definitely makes me want to hide because look at these people. These people are scary. These people are. This isn't the first time I've showed this video. I've already covered this. These people are scary. Watch these people, man. Yeah, these are who the Democrats want to allow in. Democrats are actively pushing to try to prevent us from kicking these people out. That's how insane everything is right now in dystopian 1984 America, in Biden's America, in Kamala the Snitch Harris's America, where China is more important than Americans, where cartels are more important than Americans. Yeah, I ain't stepping to these people. I'm gonna run like a sissy and call the cops. It just keeps going. Sorry. This is Biden's America. If Biden and Kamala Harris are elected, this is what America is going to look like. It's like you wonder, is this like computer animation? Did they like play the same clip over and over again? This is terrifying. This is absolutely terrifying. I feel so bad for the people of Mexico. We have to legalize drugs. People, like, we got riots burning down our cities because of police brutality, because of the 1994 crime bill that Joe Magoo Biden passed. And then when Kamala the Snitch Harris is elected as puppet president, then she'll institute a nationwide mask ban after the pandemic's over. This is what she says she's going to do. That's her first order of business, is to make sure that everyone wears a mask so that these people can commit crimes with impunity. You can't catch them. There's nothing you can do. You can't identify them. It's like this guy. You can't do anything. That's Biden's America. It is terrifying. That was so terrifying. I needed that. Wow. Maybe I should be a little bit nicer on the internet, because these people are actually terrorists. These are the people that they don't want to kick out. They want to make it so that 4 out of 5 border crossers gets through the border undetected, so that they can keep up their drug funneling network, because they require these illegal immigrants to distribute their narcotics, because 30% of federal drug trafficking charges or drug trafficking convictions are against illegal immigrants. 50% are from Latinos. Latinos make up like 13.3% of the population. But they're going to shoot up to a third of the population due to the feminism, causing women to delay having families till they're 30 so they could slave for Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. People who are profiting hands over fist from the Chinese Nazi Party, who are not allowed to criticize the Chinese Nazi Party because they have taken billions of dollars in loans from them, such as Elon Musk, such as Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. you really have to start looking at these Democrats a little bit more through the lens of a police officer. What is going on right now is absolutely criminal. There's no doubt about it. It is 100% criminal. The riots are getting shut down every night. We have Kamala, the snitch Harris. And what was that first video? Let me pull that one out. What happened there? What was that first thing that I showed tonight? Intro. This is so scary.
Gonna stop, and they're not. This is a movement. I'm telling you, they're not gonna stop. And everyone beware, because they're not gonna stop. They're not gonna stop before Election Day in November, and they're not gonna stop after Election Day. They're not gonna let up, and they should not, and we should not.
I feel like I'm dreaming, dude. Like, I mean, I must have gone crazy, right? None of this is happening. This is a bad dream. Kale ate too much LSD. He smoked too many dabs. He's like in a marijuana psychosis, right? It's not happening. None of this is happening. No, it's just a bad dream. I can just go to sleep and then this won't be happening. This is fine. Gotta take your white privilege. Because you got it from the white privilege factory. Won't share with the women, African Americans, rations of the Kleenex. Woo! These people are insane. What else was in here? Nothing. This next article from the New York Post, finally a little bit of good news. Congress set to vote on legalization of marijuana in September. The U.S. House of Representatives is preparing to vote for the legalization of marijuana next month. A bipartisan bill led by sponsors in the Senate is Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Kamala the Snitch Harris. So she's got to make up for the fact that she used to be a prosecutor. She used to enjoy prosecuting people, busting them for weed. And she's known as Kamala the Snitch Harris. If you're unfamiliar with the snitch scandal, you should look it up on the internet. It was a scandal that Kamala Harris was involved in that was extremely corrupt. And one of the reasons why the people in California hate her. So, yeah. It would have been nice if the Democrats hadn't illegalized drugs. Most people think it was the Republicans who started the war on drugs. This is actually fake news. It was actually Democrats in San Francisco that illegalized drugs. They had a bunch of Chinese immigrants that came in, and they were smoking opium. And the Democrats there were incredibly racist, and they would kidnap Chinese people and take them on boats, use them as slaves. In the Shanghai tunnels, like in Portland, they got the Shanghai tunnels there. They used to like get Chinese people drunk at the bar, and then they had you'd go to the bathroom, and then there was a false floor, and then they would pull the lever, and then you'd fall down into a cage, and they'd take you out onto a boat. And so the Democrats, they were the ones that started the war on drugs for extremely racist reasons. But then they blame it on the Republicans because after Vietnam, a bunch of soldiers came back. They were doing heroin, and they were robbing banks, committing crimes. And then the Republicans said, we're fed up with this. We're going to illegalize drugs. or pass the Controlled Substance Act and start the DEA. And it was obviously a really bad idea, but people just think it was the Republicans that did this, but that's not true. It's fake news. The Democrats were 100% in support of it. It was popular. That's why they did it. See, people have like a lot of really, really, really naive, ignorant views on history. They think everything was started out in the end state. They're like, oh, we know 2 or 3 facts about this. And so all of history is in this end state. They weren't good people at one point in time. And then a bunch of stuff happened that was outside of their control. And then a bunch of bad stuff happens. No, they were horrible, evil people who did things for evil motivations because the story that we were told makes them sound horrible because they left out almost all of the facts. And when you do that, it turns into fake news. Yeah, those pesky facts things. They aren't racist. You're ignorant and hateful. And probably shouldn't be shutting down people for having different opinions, because what you've done is you've created a heterodoxy where everybody has the same orthodoxy. You've created a monoculture, a group think echo chamber, a very, very, very dangerous thing that can cause wars, rioting, looting, destruction, lots of bad things. Not something that we want to have in America. We don't want cultural Marxism here, man. Not at all in any way, shape, or form. We need to fight cultural Marxism as much as we can. I'm not sure if I covered this. I might, if I did, we got to cover it twice. I can't remember. This next article from Daily Mail: SWAT swarms LA apartment after shots were fired at Trump caravan. A standoff is underway at the Woodlands Hills apartment complex following the recorded shooting of at a pro-Trump rally Sunday, according to the police. Woman was driving past the caravan in Woodlands Hill when she heard sounds like gunshots around 11:30 p.m. local time. She said she then noticed her tire was flat after being damaged by a projectile, possibly a bullet. LAPD said. Another witness saw a person with a firearm stood at a balcony nearby apartment building in the 20,600 block of Ventura Boulevard. Police say they later obtained a photo of a man holding a rifle on a balcony of the same apartment building. Tactical teams were said to be attempting to draw the alleged shooter and 2 others out from the apartment block around 3:30 p.m. The group had reportedly barricaded themselves inside of one of the units. And then the SWAT team came and got them. These are the good guys. You might not agree with war on drugs. I don't. I say we should legalize them. But the fact is, the voters voted these laws in. Most of them are local laws in cities. I live in Oregon. We passed a local law that said marijuana is legal here. And it's legal. Now, as you can see, I'm a lot smarter than most of these people that want to have drugs illegal, even when I'm really stoned. So, these people hate police, and it's because the voters passed laws, and it's because the voters continue to elect Democrat politicians who are insanely corrupt, and they don't change. They don't want to change these things. Kamala the Snitch Harris was a prosecutor who prosecuted people for smoking pot. She loved doing that. She's a snitch. Not just a little bit of a snitch, the snitch. And apparently she's a slut too and slept her way up to the top. That's what Rush Limbaugh says. But nope, can't criticize, you can't slut shame. Because that's apparently, if a man does that and he's running for office, then they're going to use that to attack him as a man, because that man is not monogamous. not up to, he's not as moral as the other one. But if a woman does it, you can't slut shame her because that's sexism. I don't know, man. I personally don't care about your feelings. In fact, I personally think that when you behave like a sissy, you end up turning into a spineless backstabber. You side with people that you should not because you did not like the tone of my voice or what I said. And as it turns out, I was the good guy. And then you went over and you sided with the bad guy. So it's best when we just laugh at me because it is actually rather entertaining. When you are not really mad and want to kill me, it is actually rather funny. It is not hateful because it's comedy. Oh, they're allowed to, here. So they're allowed to put Nazi films up. They're allowed to have movies where they're killing people. And they're allowed to have music videos where they're gunning people down in the ghetto, where they're like womanizing. But then I can't say anything like that. Not at all. Even if I'm doing a parody, a news parody. No, they got to censor that. There's a guy who died, Joey Gibson, founder and leader of the Patriot. Oh, he was a founder of Patriot Prayer. Paid tribute to Bishop. Oh, wait. Joey Gibson paid tribute. And then who was the guy who got killed? What? Man, that sucks, man. They just assassinated this guy because he had a Patriot Prayer hat on. It's like a free speech and anti-big government group, dude. That's not a far right. Dude, far right means like steep social hierarchies, authoritarianism, like fascism, bro. This guy's the opposite of fascism, and they just gunned him down in the streets. Because he's a Trump supporter. He's a white male. Oh, and they also kill black people, too. There's almost 20,000 murders in the U.S. each year. There's about 20,000 gun accidents, gun death accidents in the U.S. Less than 1,000, about 1,000 police shootings or killings per year. So do the math on that one. The police are about 5% of the gun accident. Hold on. Most of the people that the police kill are armed and pose a significant threat to the public. There's a small amount of gun accidents in there, and they're like a tiny fraction of the number of gun accidents each year. But they want mob justice because they're not happy with the court trial. They're not happy that the evidence that they got exonerated and they were innocent because they think they're guilty because they got fake news. They got lied to by people trying to get scam donations like George Floyd's brother and Jacob Blake's family. They've already profited over $1 million in scam donations. And when they get $1 million in scam donations, they're not gonna tell you the truth. If they told you the truth, they'd have to give you the money back. They're not going to do that. That's why we have to shut GoFundMe down and change.org and moveon.org because they're scam donation sites. They're scams. They're scamming the American people, getting you to pay for some donation for a fundraiser. You think your money is going to be used for one thing and it's used for a riot to burn your city and your businesses and your house down. And the Democrats are in full support of it. And it's because it's not their house. It's not their business. They don't live in your community. They don't know anybody there. They don't vote there. They don't pay taxes there. They don't have any business there. But they'll certainly tell you how you should run your life from the up top day ivory tower because they're attention whores. They have to have you like them. They can't not post on social media. You have to be watching them on Twitter or else they're going to freak out because they're working so hard in the ivory tower that they have anxiety, PTSD, depression, narcissistic personality disorder. And so they need to tell you anything that you want to hear in order to get you to like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. And so they want to push policies that are absolutely nightmarish and dystopian. but they live in gated communities. They're so rich. When your family goes under and your house you is foreclosed on, your business is foreclosed on, they're going to come do the swoop and buy your house and your business for pennies on the dollar. That's how much of a scum these people are. You have to stop them. You cannot continue to vote for Democrats. They owned slaves. They started the KKK. They opposed women's suffrage. They passed the 1994 crime bill that created the prison industrial complex. They're black mooter mobs. They're white feminists. They want to replace the white man with Latinos because they're in some crazy, insane feminist suicide cult where they all want to put off having a kid, the women, till their 30s so they could slave for Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and kill off their genetic line. And then their birth rate's so low that they have to bring in immigrants to replace them so the ivory tower liberals can keep up their supply of cheap labor and customers. This is Biden's America. This is Kamala the Snitch Harris's America, where corrupt California Democrats, cartels, Chinese Nazi Party, and terrorists control America, and they censor your speech because they're all insane, and they are acting in the capacity of fact-checking organizations and news publishing organizations, but then they want to get a Section 230 pass on all the tort lawsuits. Facebook is the primary entity that's responsible for these rioting and looting. Primary entity. There's no other entity at all, period, that touches anywhere near the amount of rioting that that has gone on, because these people are organizing these riots on Facebook. They're getting scam donations for these riots on Facebook. They are committing fraud on Facebook. They're putting out images of atrocity propaganda, doctored up, photoshopped images, such as this one, this image, where you can see someone had sprayed this little girl with water. You see this person's finger over here. You can see it. She's not pointing at the cop. They're not. They photoshopped it. You can see there's dark spots. There's dark spots. That means the light's not the same. The pattern's not the same. Why'd they draw this little line around it? It's cut and paste. They sprayed somebody with water. Made it look like it was mace. That's because they're scammers. They're trying to get scam donations. It's atrocity propaganda is what it's called. That's how you start riots, is with atrocity propaganda, where you turn run boogeyman propaganda into attack boogeyman propaganda, where you turn the perception that there are many of them and few of us, so you have to be afraid of the boogeyman and run, to there are many of us and few boogeymen, so we can attack the boogeyman. Hence, run and attack boogeyman propaganda. And then you can use it as a psychological warfare technique. It's a new era of psychological warfare brought to you by Xi Jinping and the Democrats, all targeting the white people to remove the racist white males because of their white privilege, because they took the land from the Amerindians and they took it from the Mexicans, because whenever we had the Spanish-Mexican War, they were fighting the Amerindians, right? This is what these people think. Their knowledge of history is so juvenile and ignorant. They think that we took Mexico from Amerindians. They think that we took it from people who actually look like the tribal Americans. We're all natives here. We were born in America. You're native. They're tribal Americans or Amerindians. But the truth is that Mexico was started under control of the Spanish. They were Spanish conquistadors. There was less than 5,000 of them in the entire territory. Mexico did not exercise control over the territory, hence why we annexed it, because it was a legitimate annex. It was. And then the people who lived there, they got first dibs on the land, and they became American citizens, and they loved America. So the story that they told you was a lie, and it's because they are corrupted on this leftist notion that we have to care more about fairness than anything else, than self-protection, than cleanliness, than authority, than group loyalty. Because you cannot be loyal to your country. You can only be loyal to leftists in a leftist land. That's why they're called leftist, because they only side with the left. They're not a classical liberal, because in America, American liberalism, we preserve classical liberalism. We preserve the Constitution. We preserve free speech. We preserve freedom of religion, of the right to educate your child. These are conservative principles with a small c, not the big C. These are like common law conservative. These are the basis of democracy. The fundamentals that our Constitution is based on are some very noble, very honorable principles. That is what we are conserving here on the right. And this is what is such a big threat to the Chinese Nazi Party, because the Chinese Nazi Party knows the end is nigh. Recent reports, which I should have had, man, I messed up. About 60% of the people in the Chinese Nazi Party think that the time is nigh. I got it from the Epoch Times. That's why I don't have that. Yeah, so look that up on the Epoch Times. The Chinese Nazi Party is going down in flames. It's a big movement, and I help fight for it on this show. When you support this show, you support the fight against Zinni the Pooh and the Chinese Nazi Party. I will fight every day for us. This next story from batshit crazy land, dystopian 1984 Democrat-run America. From the Daily Mail, man is caught on camera attempting to rape a woman 25 on a New York subway platform. Jose Reyes of New York City was arrested on Sunday afternoon by NYPD after he was caught on camera attempting to rape a 25-year-old woman on the Upper East Side subway platform, because this is what life in a Democratic-run shithole is like. They rape you out in broad daylight. We call these people hood Democrats. They're low-income, big city Democrats. They have high crime, high drug abuse rates, and they have very low GPAs. So when I criticize hood Democrats, there's a very good reason why I criticize hood Democrats and white feminists and ivory tower liberals and Antifa Nazis. Not just because it's funny, even though it is actually incredibly funny, but because this shit is scary as fuck. On the next Real Simple News with Science, we'll be reading this article from Hacker News. Physicists find a new quantum paradox that casts doubt on pillar of reality, along with Schrodinger's equations and the theory of thermal relativity, which is my theory of gravity, in which there is a thermal equilibrium between two suns where it is absolute space. Energy is the inversely proportionate to mass, and that suns are converging into a black hole where the temperature is 0 and it's E equals mc squared equals 0, and that there's a waveform that stretches between the pure space into where E equals mc squared is less than 1, down into the black hole where E equals mc squared equals can't be 0. It's impossible. It's impossible because it evaporates into Hawking radiation, evaporates into pure space. Not pure space, almost pure space. It's not possible to have pure space, and it's not possible to have pure energy. This is the theory of thermal relativity that I invented. This next article from the Daily Mail, experts say U.S. coronavirus positivity rate is high because the tests are too sensitive. Up to 90% of people tested for COVID-19 in Massachusetts, New York, and Nevada in July carry barely any traces of the virus, a new report says. Experts say it could be because today's tests are too sensitive. I say it's because Fauci is incompetent and he needs to be replaced immediately. He might have done some fancy stuff in his past, but he has proven he's completely inept. He's brainwashed. He'll do anything the Democrat scientists say because he looks at everything through a politically biased lens because he's been in the swamp too long. And we need to drain the swamp immediately. Fauci has to go. PCR tests analyze genetic matter from the virus in cycles, and today's tests typically take 37 to 40 cycles. Experts say this is too high because it deems a patient positive even if they have small traces of the virus that are old and no longer contagious. They suggest lowering the number of cycles, which would hone in on people with high viral load who are more contagious. Today, there's 5.9 million cases of COVID-19 in the U.S., and there's been 182,000 deaths. And so let's translate that into normal speak. So they had a very, very, very low amount of the virus in their system. So that means either their immune system was fighting the thing and they were actually immune to COVID because they had fought, not well, semi-immune to that strand of COVID for a little bit. You're never immune for your entire life from these things. Vaccines aren't perfect. Or you had it in the past, and then at that point in time, you have an immunity to it. So like we're freaking out about nothing. All of this stuff is fake news. What happened to America? What just happened to us? This is insane. I've been up here like almost every other night recently for hours at a time with all of this shit, and it just keeps going. It keeps going and going and going. Nonstop fake news spewing out of the fake news industrial complex. And you have to wonder, where China's influencing this. This next article from New York Post, a 3-year-old girl was lifted into the sky after getting caught on a kite, a video shows. Heart-stopping video shows a 3-year-old girl being lifted up 100 feet into the sky after getting caught on a giant kite. Footage from a festival in the seaside town of Nanyuan, Taiwan, on Sunday showed a group of helpers struggling to contain the giant length of orange materials as they were battered with heavy winds. There's a picture of the girl. We got the video. Where's the video? Here's the video. They just caught her. Yeah, nice. Whee. Let's pray. Thank God. That girl is safe. Wow, that was... Let's watch that one again, man. Watch it again. That's wild. In this next article from Newsweek, Biden condemns violence in Portland while Trump blames the radical left Dems. In quotes. This is why we call them fake Newsweek. Because they write the news for the audience. Yes. The news is written for the audience. Saturday turned deadly as a group of Donald Trump supporters clashed in the Portland streets with black looter mobs. Demonstrators. They're terrorists. They're terrorizing the neighborhoods because they don't like what the courts said about the cops being innocent. But they don't like how the court let 20 guilty people free to prevent one innocent person from rotting in jail. They love it when they're one of the 20 guilty people who got free, but they hate it when cops are in there because cops are the racist, privileged white male Republicans who are oppressing the women, the African Americans, the Kleenex, and the Wagons in the big Democrat-run shitholes. It's the people from the poor rural states that are doing it. It's their fault. And the reason for that is because they're scapegoating. It's a scapegoat. This is what you do when you're a loser and you believe fake news and you got bad grades in high school and you didn't go to school or college, you didn't hang out with the nerds, you didn't program computers. Instead, you partied, did drugs, had sex, got drunk, got in fights. And then you say it has to be the racist conservatives because they're dressed nice, because they have so much money, just because you have a suit on, that means that you have money. Yeah. Just means you have money. Right. This is how little they think into it. They don't think into it. To them, they see Kale's got a suit on. He's a conservative. So that means he's rich and he's a racist, privileged white male. Because facts are racist. Facts are sexist. Facts are nativist. They're xenophobic. They're far right. Because everything is far right when you live in a world where the Democrats flipped all the signs backwards, and they all go the same direction to the top of the ivory tower where they want you to go because it's a psyop. It's a psychological warfare operation that got pulled on you, that the Democrats are behind. They're working with the Chinese. Joe Magoo Biden, his son, got a $1.6 billion contract through the Chinese Nazi parties. It's no joke. They're throwing big B's around, bro. Big B's. Corrupting Democrats. Democrats are all about the corruption. They're getting all kinds of money from these Chinese Nazi party corporations and dark money and promotions, backroom deals. It's not the Republicans doing this. The Republicans are trying to stop this because we're trying to conserve classical liberalism, our Constitution, represent a republic. We're trying to preserve democracy as we know it. We're trying to save the world from the Chinese Nazi Party. And then the Democrats are fighting us tooth and nail, trying to come after Donald Trump because of the police brutality caused by the local and state laws in the Democrat-controlled shitholes. And it's all the far right's fault because they're fascist and they're neo-Nazis, because Wikipedia got taken over by China and they changed the definition of far right on us without us knowing, slowly over time, in a psychological warfare operation where they altered our history books with spies, grad student, foreign exchange students. We've covered stories about foreign exchange students from China who were children of the Chinese Nazi Party who've been convicted of committing espionage in our country. It happens. Chinese Nazi Party sends spies here all the time to steal our IP, to spy on us and sabotage our country. They've been doing it for a while. You can't trust those people at all. Not at all. They're authoritarian. They're national socialist. They allow private property ownership, dude. But they'll come take your business if you criticize the Chinese Nazi Party, or if you refer to Xi Jinping as looking like Winnie the Pooh, because they banned Winnie the Pooh from China because Winnie the Pooh has such thin skin, he can't even take a single insult because he's a beta male. In this next article from Hacker News Best, Apple terminates Epic Games developer account. It's coming at us from macrumors.com. It's from Julie Clover, Julie with an I. It says Apple in mid-August said it would terminate Epic Games developer account if Fortnite app continued to break App Store rules. And today, Apple followed through with that threat, removed Epic's access to Epic Games account. If you're unfamiliar, if you haven't been following the story, if you don't watch the show, Apple has thrown their hat into the antitrust arena. They are going to be the first company to be broken up here very, very, very soon. They lit the antitrust time bomb. So what they did was Epic Games was trying to subvert the 30% or get around the 30% App Store fee. So they had it so you could enter your credit card into the system so that you can buy directly from them, because it would be cheaper and that would lower the price for the customer. This is the key. This is why it's antitrust, because Apple is controlling the App Store. You want to be on their system, you have to give them 30% of everything. Everything. And Epic Games, thank God, Epic Games is run by people with a spine. Thank you. Credit where credit is earned. Credit is due, and it is getting paid in some form of respect and big ups. Epic Games has officially set the ball in motion that cannot be stopped. Now, Apple is officially removing one of the most used 3D game engines in all time, the Unreal Engine, one of the best graphics out there, and they have prevented other... Okay, so a judge stepped in the case and put an order against Apple, preventing them from preventing other games that use Unreal Engine from using Unreal Engine. Because what they've done here is a lot more than meets the eye at first. They go, well, whatever, Fortnite is some game, right? No, this isn't just some game, dude. This is Unreal Engine. Billions and billions of dollars worth of money get purchased every single year from Unreal Engine games. They control a large percentage of the 3D game market. And Apple has officially booted them off Mac OS and iOS. They can't do business in Tim Cook's Apple. Tim Cook is an ivory tower liberal. He's one of those scum pieces of shit supporting the black looter mobs. And then he wants to get a cut. All of it. They want to control your speech. They want to control everything you do. They want to spy on everything you do. And then they want 30%. That's why we got to take out all these ivory tower liberal motherfuckers in Silicon Valley, man. We got to take them out. They cannot be in control of Silicon Valley at all. These people are antitrust. Okay, so the difference between antitrust and a hyper-competitive and anti-competitive practice is that the antitrust laws are there to make sure the customer's not getting ripped off. It's not to protect the business from getting swallowed up by a bigger fish. It is there to force you to innovate or die. It is supposed to say that if the customer, if you have enough of a monopoly on a industry, such as Mac and iOS, which is an industry of its own, then if you're engaging in anti-competitive practices that are causing the customer to pay more and get less, that is antitrust. And the case is, for example, the Rockefeller Oil Group, Standard Oil Group, they were engaging in antitrust because when they controlled the oil market, it caused customers to pay more for the same fuel that they would have gotten from their competitors. And that was antitrust. So, with this example, or with Apple, they are trying to have a monopoly over the entire market to get their cut. And when you pay 30% more to Apple and there's no competition, you pay more. If you pay directly to Epic Games, you are going to get that for a lower price than if you got it from Apple. That means that you pay more and you get less because Apple has a monopoly on iOS and Mac OS X. So either they committed suicide, Apple committed suicide by doing this intentionally, or Tim Cook is completely incompetent. One or the other. I don't know which one of it is. Maybe a little bit of both. But this just shows you how ivory tower liberals behave and why they are an absolute dangerous threat to our country. They've always been a dangerous threat. Malcolm X, he's got all kinds of quotes about the white liberals and how they'll lead you wrong. The civil rights movement for African Americans, they won because they were the conservatives. The conservatives brought equal rights to black people. And it's because they protested for the right reasons. They were not a black looter mob engaging in violence, hatred, and hostility against Donald Trump, police officers, Trump supporters, white males. That is the definition of a hate group. That's what the Democrats are doing. The black looter mobs, all endorsed by Kamala the Snitch Harris.
They're not going to stop. And this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. They're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
Welcome to 1984, dystopian America, where black looter mobs are voting.
They're not going to stop, and they're not.
Joe Magoo Biden the author of the 1994 crime bill.
This is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. They're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
She has joy in her eyes when she says that. She does not condemn Black looter mob. I condemn Black looter mob. Ain't no question about that. This woman obviously is an insanely corrupt California Democrat. Insanely corrupt. Everything is corruption and lies to these people. This is the most corrupt politicians I've ever come across in my life. And then Epic Games. These are the people propping up Apple, all these Facebook, Twitter, Quora. They're all propping up these ivory tower. They are ivory tower liberals, dude. These companies, these tech companies, they're run by immigrants. They're owned partially by immigrants or fully by immigrants. In the case of Quora, which I've been censored on more times than I can count. I stopped counting. I just stopped contributing. Although I did actually answer a question this week. But they want to control our politics. They want to funnel dark money into Black looter mob and Antifa Nazis and Democrats, cartels. So you can't tell who it is. And this is what they've done with their they've showed you who they are. In the civil rights movement, they showed you we are good-hearted, conservative black people, good, God-fearing people. That's why they won. It's because they showed the people we are not what you said we are. We are good people. We are deserving of equal rights. And they got it. Thank God. Thank God they got it. But the Democrats, boy, they've showed you they are Black looter mob. They've shown you they have always been extremely racist. They are white feminists. They do not support the Republic. They do not support free speech. They do not support the Constitution. They do not support your life. They do not support your children's ability to grow their genetic line because you're racist. You're white. Your parents were white. You can't. I'm sorry, kids. It's not your country anymore. Your parents were racist white people. So we had to replace them with Latinos because we were feminists. We were in a suicide cult. And we put off having kids till we were 30 so that we could slave for Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, George Soros, so that we could kill off our genetic line and destroy democracy because you can't know about that. If you knew about that, you would never vote for them. You would never support them, ever. So they have to prevent you from knowing that. They have to shut me down. They have to take my mic away. They have to make you will grow from a organic reach. And then they will control who that organic reach gets to. And then they will control which facts are true, who is allowed to say the facts, who is allowed to be the arbiter of the truth, because they are a news publisher. They are a fact correction organization. That means they are a news publisher. If they suppress my free speech, they are publishing news. It is news. You've said, hey, look, this person got their free speech taken away. We edited it. We edited the news. We took it down because we did not agree with that speech. And they no longer then at that point in time have any sort of copyright protection. Protection from torts, from copyright, from slander, tort, libel, because supposedly their AI algorithms know everything about us. They know whether or not we're racist. They know if we're going engaging in hate speech because they spy on everything that we do. And we're just supposed to allow them to do anything that they want because of feminism and the white man's racist, and we need to replace them in the workplace because of the doctrine of diversity. It says that all white teams are inferior to teams with Wham-Man, African Americans, Washins, and Kleenex. Everything about these people is fucked up. All of the signs point backwards, and they all go up to the top of the ivory tower. And that's because we've fallen victim to a psychological warfare operation from the Chinese Nazi government, backed up by the Democrats, using cultural Marxism that's coming to a theater near you, sponsored by Zinni the Pooh and the Chinese Nazi Party, and corrupt California Democrats in Hollywood, getting all doped out on cartel drugs, making sure that they prop up all the anti-racist and pro-illegal immigration people and suppress anybody who's critical of illegal immigration, because that's how the Chinese Nazi Party gets the fentanyl into the country to kill our people with dope, with the chemical warfare operation. They use the psychological warfare operation to deliver the chemical warfare operation. And this is what I discovered, why you should like and subscribe to this channel, because you ain't getting this from nobody else. They fucked with the wrong engineer, man. This next article from the Daily Mail. Cover your eyes, kids. Baloney Broadcasting Company weather map reveals unfortunately shaped shower system. Twitter users in Essex were faced with more comprehensive weather package last year than after logging onto an app to check the country's rainfall. And they discovered that the cloud system looked like a erect penis with a ball sack. And it was near Essex, which has sex in the name. So it's definitely rather entertaining. We already covered this last night. I'm getting ahead. I'm getting good enough at journalism where I can beat companies to, like the BBC, to stories. I'm beating a lot of these people these stories. This next fake news article from New York Fake Post. Jacob Blake's uncle calls police union's version of shootings, quote unquote, garbage, quote unquote, insulting. Jacob Blake's uncle from the Kenosha, Wisconsin shooting, where this skeezy rapist dude had raped his girlfriend. He had a warrant out for his arrest. This guy's violent. He pulls guns on people. He looks nice in this picture, but he's not. He's a violent criminal. The cops were called on him by his ex-girlfriend. They said, hey, Jacob Blake's here. He's got a warrant out for his arrest. He's not allowed to be here. He took my keys. He's got a knife. He's menacing us. He won't let us go. And then the cops came, and they wrestled him to the ground to arrest him. They tasered him twice. And then he got up, and he ran around the other side of the car with the knife in his hand. But the video was so grainy, people didn't notice. And then he got in the car where there was kids. He was trying to get into a high-speed chase with the cops to get away so he didn't go to jail for rape and assaulting police officers. So the cop was forced to shoot him. But they can't tell you that because they're trying to sell you fake news. They're ivory tower liberals. They'll tell you anything you want to hear to get you to like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. Which is why you should not vote for them. Justin Blake said his nephew wasn't carrying a weapon. He didn't deserve to be shot 7 times in his back. Shooting set off a new wave of angry protest against the police. These people are such fake New York Posts, dude. Fake New York Post. Fake New York Post. Oops. Different article. I thought this was one from last night. I was looking for the picture of him with the knife and the body armor. It's hard to find that picture. Here's the other side.
Get my son. Get my son. Come here, TJ. TJ. You are bogus.
They are tasing him.
Mom, get back. Mom. 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 You have to get back.
Launch it again.
Get my son. Get my son. Get my son. Get my son. Come here, TJ. TJ. You are bogus. Mom, get back. Mom. 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 You have to get back.
See, they told you.
Get my son. Get my son. Get my son. Get my son.
They told you he was just trying to break up a fight. And that's because they know they'll hit millions of dollars in scam donations if they lie to you and cause a riot. This is why GoFundMe, MoveOn.org, and Change.org need to be held responsible for the riots that they've done. And Facebook. Facebook is also, too, profiting off of the riots. They're profiting off of scam donations. They do. Facebook makes a lot of money off of scam donations from any blue. They do donations officially through Facebook. They actually take a cut of the proceeds. They need to be held responsible for all of the damages and the violence, for all the people who they've harmed. We can't allow these people to continue to have control over everything in our country. So, the knife can easily be seen in his hand as he is running. It's in his hand. And then it ended up on the floor of the car. It'd be nice to find that body armor thing. You can see the knife in the body armor. But I don't know. I'm trying to find one of these black guys that got killed that isn't fake news. Or not just the guys, but also Breonna Taylor, because that one was also fake news. It wasn't a no-knock raid. They knocked. Breonna Taylor had a warrant out for her arrest. Suspected in narcotics trafficking, handling drug money. But the fake news will still tell you all day long Breonna Taylor was killed in a botched no-knock raid. But it's fake news. They're trying to sell it to you. They're writing the news for the audience to get subscriptions from people who believe stuff like that. Definitely, that's pretty detestable. That's pretty scum. It's the lowest of the low. And these people, it's just normal to them. They're in the big cities. These people up top the ivory tower. They up in the skyscrapers. They got these jobs in these fancy skyscrapers where they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. There's hundreds of thousands of them up in the ivory towers, writing fake news all day long, left and right, to get people all juiced up, start riots. So we have to shut these people down. We can't be having a fake news industrial complex. We can't allow people to just write the news for the audience and self-radicalize and then cause riots. They have to be responsible for all the damages that they've caused. Because that is absolutely detestable. That's criminal. This next fake news article from the Daily Fake Mail. Man 33 is arrested for jogging while black in San Antonio. Matthias Omitu was arrested and shoved in the back of a police cruiser while screaming, "You're choking me," in San Antonio, Texas. Police have admitted he was not the intended suspect. Again, they're writing the news for the audience. It's not true. The dude was apprehended, or he was a misidentified suspect. That is not jogging while black. Jogging while black is like you're driving while you're black. Driving while black means you got pulled over for no reason. Does not mean that you matched the identity of a suspect and then you were taken into custody temporarily. It means that people like you are habitually pulled over by the police in something that is common. This is the key. It's why it's fake news. Driving while black is something that happens in common. This is so extremely rare that something like this happens. It's not like, got pulled over because we thought they were narcotics traffickers. There was something that happened, and they detained him, and they found out he wasn't him, and they let him go. But then the fake news industrial complex wants you to click on it because they want you to subscribe and watch the ads. They'll tell you anything you want to hear to get you to like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. This next article from the Daily Mail. Bloody scenes as batshit crazy Muslims flagellate themselves with chains and blades during a procession in Peshawar. These lunatics are cutting their backs in some ridiculous ceremony. They even got little kid. This is child abuse, dude. Look at this little kid. You want to know why our God is greater than their God? First off, we don't have a prophet who was a pedophile who had the prophet Muhammad had a 9-year-old child bride. You can look it up on Wikipedia. Her name was Aisha, spelled A-I-S-H-A. And they don't want to put it at the top because it's not something that you would support, but the guy had a 6 to 9-year-old wife, a child bride. And then there's, everybody, it was common. They just took child brides back then. Right. They also took slaves and killed Jews too. I can't support a religion founded by a pedophile that takes slaves, rapes women, and kills Jews. I can't endorse it. I can't. It causes terrorism. It's just like Democrats, Black Looter Mob. They cause terrorism. I can't support that. Our God is greater because our God doesn't do that stuff. Our God is not a pedophile. I love Muslims. They're good people. But this is crazy fake news garbage. This all this stuff in this Quran that these people are using to justify this shit is insane. Written by some crazy barbaric people that had slaves, raped women, killed Jews, tortured Jews. I can't stand behind that. Most people who would try to shut me down for hate speech, for criticizing this barbaric religion, they don't support misogyny. They hate misogynists. They hate fascists. But they'll support people who support Sharia law. Sharia law is authoritarianism. I can't support authoritarianism in any way, shape, or form. I don't care which way it is. I support the United States Constitution, and this religion is a threat to our Constitution. You should be nice to these people because we have to convert them. Do not preach hatred, hostility, and violence towards anyone. You must be a good person. You must show them the way. But you cannot not call out the pedophile prophet Muhammad, false prophet. And these people have such thin skins that they would want to kill me for saying that. Kill me. Because that's a terrorist thing to do. That is. I'm not saying they're all terrorists. They're not. Most of them are lovely people. It's a third of the world. A third of the world's not bad people. No, people go in a logical progression from good people to angry people to violent people to murderers to genocidal maniacs. That's the way it goes. It goes down the rabbit hole. And I'm pretty sure it's 2020. Though it might be 1984. But as you can see, we still have people who take flocks and cut their backs to show their devotion to the pedophile prophet Muhammad. Sorry. These people hate Jesus. They do. These people kill Christians. I can't support that. I can't support people who endorse genocide, who endorse violence, hatred, hostility towards other groups of people. They might say to your face, no. We're good people. We like you. Join us. But that's only because they're trying to convert you. When they go into their mosques, they talk about how they want to kill you, how they need to take your white privilege, how you're preventing them from having control over this country because they're a racist white man. You believe in that Jesus, that guy is so bad. He's so bad because he's not a pedophile. Criticism is earned. I don't just give criticism. I have very limited time to give criticism to people. These people have earned it. This is crazy. This is child abuse. Look at this. This is child abuse. But Muslims are wonderful people. So we are the stronger, the better of the two, because we are going to be the peaceful ones. And instead of just trying to be nice to your face, to try to convert you, we're actually just going to be nice, but we're going to criticize you savagely and ruthlessly. But just because we criticize you does not mean that we don't love you. No, it just means that you're worshiping a pedophile prophet and you're engaging in bizarre cult-like activity. And there's a lot of terrorism. And we can't support that. No offense. But if you don't commit terrorism and don't kill people and don't commit child abuse and don't worship a false pedophile prophet, then none of these things will happen. But they would want to kill me for saying that because they have thin skin. They can't take that. They can't take any sort of criticism of the false pedophile prophet Muhammad and his child bride Aisha. So they have to come kill you. So you should support Real Simple News because there are people that want to kill me. So we need to get me into a good, safe place so I can continue making these videos for you without having a gunman come into my house and murder me and my family because I criticized their false pedophile prophet and they have thin skin? In this next fake news article from Not True Private Radio, TikTok employee Patrick Ryan has launched a legal challenge against the Trump administration to protect TikTok workers. The White House has given the popular app the ultimatum, sell or be banned. And so this far leftist organization, NPR, that takes our tax money, use it to fund hit pieces against Donald Trump, they want us to feel bad for the people who work at the Chinese Nazi Party spy tool called TikTok that brainwashes our children and illegally collects their information and sends it to the Chinese Nazi Party to be used for cyber warfare operations against us in violation of COPPA. No. We need to feel bad for the white feminist ivory tower liberals at TikTok. Oh, they feel anxiety, anger, rage. All right, I'm a computer programmer. Let me clue you in to how ridiculous this story is. They always are anxious, anger, and enraged because they're angry programmers. This is the thing about programmers. They're very isolated. They work in an authoritarian power structure where people lash out at you. They whip you. If you violate the power structure, they whip me. Of course. I'm mouthy, man. Oh, they come right after me. Trust me, man. No, I open my mouth. I say one or two. I'm like, hi, I'm Kale. Yeah, I do intellectual dark web. And then 3 words after that, they're like, oh, this guy's an evil, misogynistic, sexist, racist pig. Like, dude, it was just a joke, man. They can't tell the difference between a joke or nothing. They can't take it because they are in a leftist feminist suicide cult. All the women want to put off having a kid till their 30s so they could slave for Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, George Soros, the Clintons. And then that kills off their genetic line for women. If a man works, puts off having a family till his 30s so he can put himself in a good position, he will have a family because he can afford to have a house and raise a family. But if a woman does this, it kills off her genetic line. On the one hand, you have the best case scenario. On the other hand, you have the worst case scenario where your people die off. But they can't address this problem. So instead, they just pretend like it doesn't exist, then pretend like anyone who brings it up is far right. And then because it's obviously true, they can't stand how the conservatives know this. And so they have to riot, loot, murder, burn our cities down with black looter mobs and Antifa Nazis to get rid of the imaginary misogynistic pig boogeyman from MSNBC and the Southern Poverty Law Center, the one that Kamala the Snitch Harris is saying is behind Russiagate because she sits on the Senate Select Committee for Intelligence that did Russiagate. So if you want to know who did Russiagate, it's Kamala the Snitch Harris, Ron Wyden from Oregon, Dianne Feinstein, corrupt California and Oregon Democrats. Insanely corrupt. These people are the lowest of the low. They know Russiagate was fake, but then they tell you in the document, "Oh, we're not gonna make the determination of what happened. We're just gonna give you this multi-thousand-page report, and then we're just gonna let you read through it, and then come up with your own, make your own decision on what happened." And so when you decode what the scummy ivory tower liberals said, it says that it didn't actually happen. It was fake news. But we're going to keep this Russiagate fraud going on long enough because we want to use it to affect the 2020 presidential election. And that nobody's going to read this document because it's thousands of pages long. So you're just going to take whatever they said, whatever Rachel Maddow said on MSNBC and the Southern Poverty Law Center, and they're just going to use it to rig the 2020 presidential election. That's how these people behave. This is the norm with these people. It's insanely corrupt. And these people, these programmers working up in these ivory towers, man, they're jerks, dude. They're jerks. They're feminazis. They're white feminists. Racist form of feminism where they put white women's issues above everybody else's. And it's because they're lame with women. They're at work all the time. They don't have many friends outside of work. So they need to have wham men to hang out with to make them feel like they're not such a cuck. They can't please a woman because they're too nerdy. Women don't want to be around them because they act like ivory tower liberals, white feminists. A woman wants a man like me who's going to be tough, tell it like it is, stand up for her, instead of being a spineless coward who tries to shut down free speech. And then because they can't get women, they have to have them in the workplace. So you got to give up, pay it. You got to not have a kid, put it off till your 30s. So you can slave for Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, George Soros, Clintons, Chinese Nazi Party, and commit genetic suicide. So you'll be replaced with immigrants because they need an ample supply of cheap labor and customers to keep the savage, brutal pyramid in the ivory tower together. That is how bad ivory tower liberals are. They really are that bad. They really are that bad. I could sit up here multiple days a week for hours at a time just thrashing these people, dude, because they do so much horrible stuff that you can sit here for hours thrashing them and just constantly come up with more news stories, more just bad behavior. And they're anxious, they're angry, they're raged. They think this guy's far right. He's not sharing equally with the Whaman or the African Americans or the Wajans or the Kleenexes. Trying to create this steep social hierarchy. He's far right because he supports America. He supports the conservative structure, power structure. He supports women having families and men being fathers and you being a good parent and not rioting and looting or like gang banging or robbing people. I know that's so horrible, right? So horrible to support not being a piece of shit. It's so horrible. I know. You have to like be rude sometimes and stick up for yourself and not be a spineless coward. But these people, they live in it. These people are in a Silicon Valley monoculture, heterodoxy. They all have the same orthodoxy. They're in a groupthink echo chamber. They've blocked out all opposing voices. Everybody that they're around is a white feminist or a rich Asian. The black people have too low of grades. They don't hire them. They're just looking for the Latinos because their grades are just a little bit bigger. And if they didn't hire them, they'd be racist. I used to work as a minority outreach advisor for Portland State University. My boss was a Latina. She said, we're not looking to recruit the black people because their grades are too low. We were only looking to recruit the Latinos, the Whaman, the Whaman, the Kleenex, and the Wajans. They all cry rivers full of lip tears out of their snowflake eyes. They're like, that's hateful. Really? So what did you do to me then? We canceled you. All right. So how do I feed my family? Well, we just kick you out of town. We're going to come to your house and we're going to beat you up. We might kill your family, burn it down in the middle of the night because you made videos on YouTube. You criticized the Whaman, African Americans, the Washans, and the Kleenexes. Said they cried rivers full of lip tears from their snowflake eyes. So now we got to come beat you up. We got to kill you because you just gave us a verbal thrashing and it was hilarious. Everybody loved it. They thought it was so funny. They were laughing at you so hard. Like, you need to understand when you've lost. You need to understand when you have been alphaed and you've become a beta. And when you do, you need to look up and respect that person that gave you a thrashing and say, thank you. Thank you for showing me the light. Because I forgive you. I'm up here thrashing, but it's not because I hate you. It's because I love you. I love my country. And I love our fellow citizens. And I want to live in a peaceful, prosperous country where I don't have to worry about my or my family's safety. But not true public radio or private radio. They want to take our tax money. They want to use it to prop up TikTok because they can't shame TikTok. No, they're writing this for the audience. Their audience is pro-Chinese Nazi Party because they've been on TikTok and they've been shadow banning them. So they now, in order to rise up as a TikTok star, you have to give lip service to the Chinese Nazi Party because they will shadow ban you if you don't. So Xi Jinping then collects information on your children under the age of 14. About a third of TikTok's users are under the age of 14. They violate COPPA. They take your children's private information and they send it to the Chinese Nazi Party to use in cyber warfare operations against us, to commit espionage, to deliver chemical and biological warfare weapons with psychological warfare on Wikipedia and on Facebook through atrocity propaganda, run and attack boogeyman propaganda to create a Civil War II electric boogaloo or an electronic boogeyman campaign where they turn the far left against the far right and have it annihilate the conservative power structure with cultural Marxism coming to a theater near you, sponsored by Xi Jinping, TikTok, Democratic Party, Ivory Tower liberals, white feminists, black looter mob, scam donations, and the cartels funneling in fentanyl from the Chinese Nazi Party to kill your children with chemical warfare agents delivered through a psychological warfare operation, through a gigantic cyber warfare operation they're conducting on WikiSpy, Facebook, Twitter, Quora, everywhere. And that's why we cannot have TikTok. Our social media companies cannot be in China. They have a national security law that says if you encourage the people of Hong Kong to commit sedition, to rebel against the evil dictator Winnie the Pooh, who has such a thin skin he banned Winnie the Pooh from China. This is Xi Jinping, the dingling, one that is the authoritarian National Socialist dictator of China, that has millions of Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps, has hundreds of millions of impoverished Chinese out in the countryside. They allow private property ownership, which is mutually exclusive in communism. Communism is mutually exclusive of private property ownership. The two things are mutually exclusive. They have filthy, stinking rich Asians in the city. They use the countryside as a baby factory. It's bizarre. The people in the countryside are living in squalor. Feel like they're impoverished. And then the people in the countryside, they can't share equally with everybody because there's too many people. So only some people live high off the hog, while everybody else gets hardly anything. That's why it's National Socialism. They're attempting to be the world's #1 superpower. And all of those things are textbook National Socialism. That's why they're juicing up the far right, man. They're not the far left anymore. They're trying to annihilate both. They want to be somewhere in the middle. They don't want to be Nazi. They want to be in some socialist utopia that's in between. So in order to get there, you got to take the far left, and then, which is communist-ish, and turn it against the quote-unquote far right, which is actually the conservative power structure, because they changed the definition on you. And then they get the two sides to annihilate each other, and then they become the world's #1 superpower. They remove the white people from North America by preventing us from enforcing our immigration laws, pushing white feminism, pushing anti-racism, pushing censorship, putting things onto the intellectual dark web, preventing them from being on the clear web, through a massive number of Chinese Nazi Party-controlled companies who are censoring our internet bringing our version of Wikipedia in line with the Chinese Nazi Party's version. This is the cultural Marxism. It is scary. This is coming from TikTok. National Private Radio definitely wants to prop it up because they support China because they think it's racist to not support China. It's xenophobic. These communist people, they're the ones that you're supposed to support. The far-right people, they're the racist, fascist Nazis trying to oppress the women, African Americans, rations, and Kleenexes from them poor rural states because they look so rich in their clothes they got from the Goodwill. I look good because I act right, not because I have money. That's why I'm conservative, with a small c. Because I endorse common law. I love common law. I think that it's a noble system. With all of its faults, there's no other better way of dealing with it. That's what I realized through my struggles in the court system, was that it's really hard to run a society. It's hard. You don't know who to trust. Judge has a lot of people they got to judge. Lawyers got to make money. You might think they're charging a lot of money, but in the end, it's not really that much. They have to. They have to with what they're doing because there's a lot of other things that go on in running a business as a lawyer. And some of them are rich, but that's because they do a really good job. So, get back to the article. We got to shut down NPR. We have to hashtag defund NPR. We have to take their funding, prevent them from taking our tax money and using it to fund hit pieces against candidates that we support, such as Donald Trump, and using it to promote pro-Beijing, pro-cultural Marxism, pro-anti-white racism, pro-censorship of free speech, anti-constitution. These people are far leftist. They don't represent us. They're an extremist group. They're fake news. They're not true private radio. Debunked so many fake news stories from these people this week, dude. This ain't the first one this week, man. Like, we've been talking about NPR all week. This next article from the Times of Israel. Arson balloons from Gaza sparked 23 fires in southern Israel. Qatari envoy to Palestinian enclave briefly leaves Strip to speak with Israeli officials amid the attempts to broker a calm. See, this whole problem with the thing of calling just about anybody far right, they say theocracies are far right. So they say the Israelis are far right. And there's a problem with this. The Holocaust, they were killed by the far right. You can't put the Jews in with the Nazis. No. No, it doesn't work, man. Excuse me. Almost 420. Airborne incendiary devices launched from the Gaza Strip sparked at least 23 fires in southern Israel on Saturday, a majority of them minor, according to Israel's Fire and Rescue Services. Fire investigators told Channel 13 that all the fires were sparked by waves of arson balloons. They were flammable or explosive devices are lofted into Israel from Gaza on actual helium balloons. Most landed in open airfields, sparking brush fires that would be put out by firefighters. So this is what they do over there. They hate the Jews, so they want to kill them. And then if you criticize them, then then the left is gonna shut you down because they hate far right. So if you protect the Jews, then they're gonna shut you down because they hate Israel, because Israel had to deal with the Palestinians and the people in the West Bank. Most of these people who hate Israel, they don't know anything about the backstory. They don't know anything. They're like, You look at the backstory, you're like, man, this is a shitty situation. I don't know what to do about this. Like, how do you deal with these people? You offered to be a one-state salute. You know, you offered to let them in, but they wanted to be terrorists. They wanted to attack you with Hezbollah. What do you do with these people? They want to wipe you off the face of the planet. This is why we got to support Israel, because they are the voice of sanity over there. They don't do terrorist stuff over there. They just respond, and sometimes there's accidents. Sometimes it doesn't go well because you got real people who are on the ground who are very angry dealing with it. But people, they just want to blame. They see some atrocity propaganda on the internet, and they just want to hate on the Jews because of the stuff that somebody else did. This is the problem with anti-Semitism. It's rampant among Democrats. They hate Israelis. And they blame people for stuff other people did, and that's evil. You should not support that. You should stop blaming people for stuff other people did. When I'm up here criticizing people, I'm criticizing them for stuff that they did because I want the world to be a better place. Not because I am a hater, but because I am a lover. So, let's shut down these anti-Semitic Democrats who are trying to spread all of this far-right Chinese Nazi party shit all over the place. It's pretty just disgusting how the Democrats have behaved in this whole thing. Like hate mongers, anti-Semites, anti-white racists, anti-free speech, anti-constitution, anti-voting rights. They want mail-in voting, the most fraudulent form of voting you can possibly come up with. The one that deprives you of your right, reduces the times, places, and manners where you can engage in free speech and petition the government at polling places on government property. It abridges your First Amendment right to mail-in voting. And these are the people who don't support Israel. So just remember that. Remember who supported those people. In this next article from the Baloney Broadcasting Company, Germany coronavirus, hundreds arrested in German anti-corona protest. Rallies were largely peaceful, but there was outrage when protesters tried to storm the Reichstag. Some 38,000 people took the streets of the city, mostly peaceful demonstrations. Later, hundreds of protesters, many of them far right. This is why we call them the Baloney Broadcasting Company. It's fake news from some radicalized liberals in Europe, where they banned hate speech and they went over a deep end when the Chinese Nazi party hit them with the psyop. Tricked them into thinking that far right meant people who support immigration restrictions, people who support patriotism. And then all of a sudden, all this lunatic stuff started happening, and they wanted to put masks over our face over some fake COVID thing. Lying to you about all the death numbers. Lying to you about who's dying from it. That these people most people dying are people who are well past the average age of death. They have diabetes. They have cancer. Cancer kills 600,000 people in the U.S. each year. A third of the people died from COVID had pre-existing conditions. Half of them were over the average age of death. In the United States, in 2018, there was 341,000 people that died from flu and pneumonia. So far, as of August 28th of 2020, there was 270,000 people that died of COVID, flu, and pneumonia. You do the math, that's 70,000 people. When you do the math, there's no real extra deaths from COVID. You can write off the extra deaths from COVID as a statistical anomaly at that point in time. At that point in time, you say, oh, well, it was 10 May. I think when I did the math, let's do the math here. Do the math. Look up the proof. Always look up the proof. Never just go off of some botched numbers, dude. Let's go look at the tweet. You can go check my numbers over there. Here we can see the video is playing over there. So we do the math and we... We're going to see 341, 107 minus 270, 792. 70,000 people. Okay, so 270. 3. That's 90. All right, what that means is about 20,000 more people will have died this year from COVID, flu, and pneumonia than died in than died in 2018 from pneumonia and flu. And the CDC withheld this information from you. These people okay, so you're supposed to say, you're always supposed to never attribute to malice what you can to incompetence. Okay, yeah, they're brainwashed Democrat scientists. Only 6% of scientists vote for Republicans. So they are brainwashed Democrat scientists. Is Fauci incompetent? I don't know. He's one of the smartest doctors in the world. Is he a traitor? Is he working for the Chinese Nazi Party? I don't think so. I think he's a good guy. I think he's probably working on our team. There's seems to be some crazy, weird error here. Because this is definitely legit. There's no not legitness about this. This is definitely, you can go in and look at the stats. You can look at it. Let's even look. Download the thing, right? So you download it, like binks, binks, binks. You open up the data table, right? Look, you're watching me. I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. I hate liars. Look, it's D. Boom. Right there. You saw it on Real Simple News first. Right there. Had they put that in the website, had they put that there, you know, we might not be having this conversation. Might not have had a pandemic lockdown ever. Well, they locked it down before they started having deaths. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous what they did. Absolutely ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. And then let's go back and look at the other one just to prove that Kale's not crazy because he's just smoking medical marijuana. So, go look at the thing yourself. Look at it yourself. Right here. It's obvious that they're lying to you. Because you would have to be a fool to see those numbers and not question everything about this. The entire narrative. Everything. All of this stuff that is going on right now is insane. I think these people need to smoke some weed, man. Chill out and stop being so crazy. Get off the antidepressants and the anti-anxiety pills. I think it's making them go insane. I think that these people are hopped up on like all kinds of pharmaceuticals. They're getting coked out. They're doing Molly, acid. They're going crazy with their ex and their partner and their moms and their family and some of them got daddy issues, bruh. They say I'm crazy. You see, this is why whenever I figured out that the people who are shaming me, trying to make me feel bad for standing up and being rowdy and being like a man, these people were like crazy on pills and doing weird drugs and they had like anxiety issues. They were just like fucking crazy when you're not looking at them, dude. You're like, oh, but they seem so nice, right? They got nice pictures. They got friends. And then like when they, you know, they what they said was like sounded nice, right? Because they're like, how could you say that? How can you be so hateful, right? Right. And then you like peer into their life and they're a fucking lunatic, dude. They're like on fucking 3 different kinds of anxiety medication, antidepressants, and they're fucking doing Molly, Coke, doing fucking meth suppository. They got turkey basters hidden around their fucking house, man. Straight up boofing it. Doing meth and shit, dude. These people are weird, dude. And we're like, we totally fell for it, dude. We thought, oh, she's such a nice old lady, right? Right, except for she's got fucking oven gloves on, bro, and a mask and like a fucking face shield, and she's at her house, dude. Nobody's around, dude. Bitch is fucking crazy as fuck, dude. And you want me to sit here and not make fun of these people and laugh my ass off and make fun of YouTube videos about it? You're fucking crazy, dude. You are crazy. I'm going to sit here and fucking make fun of these people all day for how fucking crazy they are. Because I have to. It is my dharma. It is my duty. It is my duty to show you how batshit crazy these Democrats are. Because they are insane. They've gone completely insane. They've gone off the deep end. There's like, we need to juice up the mental health services in the United States. Because obviously the Democrats have lost it. There's a solution to this. You can walk away from the Democratic Party. You can join the party of sanity that freed the slaves, passed the Civil Rights Act, passed women's suffrage, started the EPA, helps black people out, doesn't call you Uncle Tom, even though Uncle Tom is a badge of honor. You got the story wrong. Uncle Tom was actually the good guy in this story. You should watch the movie Uncle Tom by Larry Elder. You'll see a lot of things about history we got wrong. We were very ignorant. It turns out Uncle Tom is the hero. This is a repeating story in history. A repeating story because a lot of times bad people talk a lot of shit. And people believe them. They think, oh, this person's talking all kinds of shit about this person because that person must be bad, right? No. They're talking all kinds of shit because they're a bad person. And you are a sucker. This is why you should be a conservative with a small c. Or a hardcore Republican. Either of the two. They work pretty good. We take people from all races, gender, ethnicity. We will not try to attack your white privilege. In fact, we'll even give you a little bit more of whatever they said was white privilege, because apparently it's so good that they're out rioting, looting, and burning our cities down to get it. So if it's that good, bro, hook me up, homie. You got some of that white privilege, dog? Damn! That white privilege factory is what's up, dog? Oh, what do we have left here? More lunatic stuff here. In this next article from the Daily Mail, Donald Trump blasts niece Mary after she releases secret tapes. Sorry, it's the Daily Fake Mail? I forgot. About the only way a person is able to write a book on me is if they agree that it will contain as much bad quote-unquote stuff as possible, much of which is lies, Trump tweeted Saturday from Air Force One. So I go, ooh, we got juicy secrets from Mary Trump, right? Gotta click on it. Gotta watch the ads. All right. So what did they say? Don't give him breath. Let's go down and look how fucking crazy these people are, dude. Here's what they said this is the juicy news.
And in the recordings we're going to play for you, we can hear Marianne Trump Barry and Mary Trump discuss Ivanka Trump during the period that the Trump administration initiated their child separation policy.
And then that when that damn Ivanka puts this picture of the Madonna and child on Instagram when the big news of the day was how kids are being ripped from their families. I couldn't blame. I never heard of Samantha Bee before. I couldn't blame what she said.
So in that recording, Marianne Trump Berry was referring to Samantha Bee, the comedian, who had slammed Ivanka, calling her oblivious.
Translate what the ivory power scum piece of shit said. This is a bunch of stupid stuff. This is gossip. That was the lamest clip I've ever heard. But it doesn't have to actually be true. They just have to tell you that it happened in the fake news and that it doesn't matter whether or not it's actually true. They just brainwash you and get you to do whatever they want because they're the fake news industrial complex.
Among other things, after she posted this image of herself and her child.
MSNBC is monstrously silly, not true broadcasting company. No, monstrously shameful, or not true broadcasting company.
At the same time that the country was learning that the Trump administration was separating migrant children from their families. Now, the next clip that you're about to hear, Mary Trump and...
Wait. Let me correct this lying sack of shit. You mean the policies that started because of the things that Obama did? Because Obama was the one that put those cages down there. Obama was the one that did not focus on fixing our border problem. And because of that, we had migrant caravans with thousands of people show up. See, if you actually put the details in, it changes the entire story. This is why they're fake news. This is why it's the monstrously, what is it? Not sick, not savage, not, yes, monstrously. I don't know, something not true broadcasting company. I can't remember. If you can remember, please comment below. Because I said it a moment ago, but you know, my memory's not doing so good. It is 4:30 in the morning. I have been going for 4.5 hours. I can keep going. I can keep going. What else do they... This is such gossip. This is baloney. This Daily Fake Mail place spews out fake news like a fire hydrant. Every single day, just fake news. It's a tabloid. And people think it's true. You look up their NewsGuard certification. It says, oh, they just got hit. They've been 100 out of 100. Thank you. Thank you, NewsGuard. They were 100 out of 100. Thank you. I think they need to be a red. They do not gather information presented responsibly. They repeatedly publish false content. They do not avoid deceptive headlines. No, they go for the gossip. They want all them those gossipy clicks. They're all about it, dude. They're Daily Fake Mail. With the baloney broadcast company, fake New York Post, New York Fake All the Times, Washington Fake Post. You got the Guardian of fake news. You got monstrously shitty, not true broadcasting company. And you got the Southern Poverty Law Center making money off of their scam donations from their hate map by slandering everybody as far right so they could make money on donations, working in coordination with the Chinese Nazi Party. And if you're unfamiliar, people who work for the Southern Poverty Law Center are underpaid. They're supposed to be getting $80,000, $150,000 a year. but they're exploiting people out of their goodwill, saying we're working for a good cause, we're running on donations. They have $500 million in their war chest, or had last I heard, and they underpay people like $20,000, $30,000 a year, and they get these drugged out interns, get all hopped up on cartel drugs, write all this fake news, slandering all these patriot organizations as far right because they've been radicalized. You didn't know that, huh? It's true. Southern Poverty Law Center is garbage. It's fake. So is the Anti-Definition League. They're also too fake. They're doing a very, very much so disservice to the Jews of Israel. They've slandered. They put the Jews in this far right pile. Yeah, the Holocaust. Hitler killed the Jews. Can't put the Jews in with the far right pile just because they're a theocracy. That would be you can't do that. You can't put the Jews in with Hitler because they're not that bad. But they make donations off the hate map when they convince you to think this. So they get money off scam donations to get you to hate Jews in Israel. It's pretty detestable. This next article from New York Post. Trump says RNC bested DNC in ratings and donations because they're the fake New York Post. They're not actually the New York Post. They write the news for the audience because they want you to click on it. That's why this is RSS commentary. This is RSS news feeds. And they want you to click on it. They want you to watch the ads. They want you to like the post, buy the product, vote for them. Ivory Tower liberals. Sitting up top day, Ivory Tower, preaching nightmarish policies that have a disaster effect on your families and your country because they went to their attention whores. They're isolated, lonely up there in the Ivory Tower. They're not very good with women. So they want to tell you anything that you want to hear to get you to like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. So they don't want to tell you what the ratings are. It shows 147. See, because if they actually told you, if they weren't trying to actually waste your time by reporting fake news, they would have just given you the thing. But then it would only be a couple of sentences. And then you wouldn't click on the ad, like the post, buy the product, and vote for them. So they have to trick you. So they have to say, Trump said this, because if he said it's actually true, then you wouldn't subscribe. This is why it's fake news. It's a fake news industrial complex. Don't ask me how I'm the one up here. I think it's because, shit, I did all the work. Yeah, none of y'all did that. In fact, people just talk shit the whole time. Said I'm going off the deep end. Nah, man, there's shit going down. There's actually shit going down. So what does this fake news say? President Trump and GOP are crowing that their convention attracted millions more eyeballs and campaign donations than number of supporters the Democrats drew during their pathetic soiree last week earlier. And if you're unfamiliar, if you didn't watch the show last week, the MSNBC, most people watch the Democratic National Convention on MSNBC and CNN, and those two organizations didn't air much of the Republican National Convention. They were airing the USPS Postal Office testimony. And so they were trying to say, oh, we got so much better ratings than you. Right. That's because of the monstrously shitty, not true broadcasting company, MSNBC, and the fake news CNN, because they are trying to manipulate the political system by selling news to the customer, telling you whatever you want to hear to get you to like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. And it's because they are engaging in cultural Marxism, sponsored by Xi Jinping. He's propping up these shitty Hollywood movies that are remakes of badass movies with a white male character that they replace with a whammon, a African American, a wajin, or a Kleenex. Because if they don't, then the white feminists will cry rivers of lib tears from their snowflake eyes. They'll cancel you because you're a racist white male. Right? And then, so we got to feel bad for the women. And then, so we got to make these shitty movies. And they're going to bomb in the United States, but they make billions and billions of dollars in China because Xi Jinping subsidizes the bad movies to bring cultural Marxism to a theater near you, sponsored by Zinni the Pooh, white feminist, Democrats, Antifa Nazis, and scam donations from Black Looter Mob fundraisers on Facebook, MoveOn.org, and Change.org. This is Joe Biden's America. This is Kamala the Snitch Harris's America. This is 1984. The Republican National Convention, quote, the Republican National Convention blew the Democratic National Convention away. Not even close, exclamation point, and quote, Trump tweeted on Saturday, touting international campaign figures showing 147.9 million viewers tuned into the event on television and online. Campaign also reveals that they raised $76 million for their 2020 election war chest off the event, and it's not dark money. After the Dem convention, Team Biden, as in Joe Magoo Biden, author of the 1994 crime bill that created the prison industrial complex, running with Kamala the Snitch Harris, the prosecutor that loves to lock people up for smoking pot, the one that's behind Russiagate, sits on the Senate Select Committee for Intelligence that put out the fake Russiagate investigation off of the Steele dossier paid for by the Democrats. Before the campaign releases their numbers, which cannot be independently verified, media reports noted that Biden has bested Trump in Nielsen ratings because everybody watches that stuff on TV, right? They're so fake. On Twitter, Trump attacked those assessments as quote-unquote fake news. So, the President of the United States also, too, agrees with me, too. This is fake news. Quote, the LA Times and others believe that crooked Dems, before the real numbers came out, too bad we don't have honest reporting when it comes to it. It comes to, quote-unquote, Trump. Phony sources, they said anything, and I think they'll get away with it. November 3rd, Trump said, to which I say, thank you, Donald Trump, for being the most badass president. No one comes close to how badass Donald Trump is. He's so badass, they have multi-month riots over how badass he is. I helped start the 2016 anti-Trump protest when I was a brainwashed, radicalized liberal, sold on this fake news, CNN garbage, MSNBC nonsense. And I used to say, he's not my president. I am proud to say that not only is he my president, he is my favorite president. And that's because he is the most entertaining person in the world. And he is sticking up for us, and he is on the side of right. He is on the side of the red, white, and blue, the patriotic people of America. And to which I say, credit is given where credit is due. I am giving credit for how amazingly awesome his job of president is. He's gotten us out of the wars. He's hit China really hard. The Democrats are just getting obliterated. They bringing back jobs back. He didn't try to shut down the country because of some fake news COVID pandemic. Killed mostly people who were going to die that year anyways. If it wasn't going to be COVID, it was going to be pneumonia. If it wasn't pneumonia, it was going to be the flu. If it wasn't the flu, it was going to be an organ shutdown. Makes you want to strangle Fauci, right? Don't do that. No, I already put that up. Trump added that his current team, quote, has more spirit and enthusiasm than ever before, including the great and wonderful campaign of 2016. Exclamation point, and quote, when we helped start that protest against him. I'll never forget that, man. Black looter mob turned it into an Antifa Nazi riot. Remember, I watched it. Watch the people. That's why I don't support them. I watch these people from the inside. After seeing how they act and how they come up off the social media circle, who they harass on the internet, who they support, who's funding them, the inner workings, I can't support these people at all, dude. These people are black looter mob, Antifa Nazis, working with the Chinese Nazi Party, Democrats. I mean, for real, dude, never support a black looter mob. Never support any mob. This one in particular is run by gangster-ass motherfuckers who want cultural Marxism, and they'll fuck you up. They'll kill you because they think you're far right. They think that Donald Trump is the imaginary misogynistic pig boogeyman from MSNBC, the one that mistreats and beats women, locks them up, won't let them vote, won't let them work, won't let them go to school, won't let them have any friends, and he puts burkas over their heads. He's the imp pig boogeyman from the Southern Poverty Law Center. The one that said grab her by the pussy. I mean, you gotta admit, man, that shit's pretty funny, dude. Don't forget to just like and subscribe to at RSS Commentary. Share this video on social media so other people can see how funny this news broadcast is. I am getting better and better every day, and I trust you, it will be less pissed off and more funny in the future. I don't know enough about this article to comment. I would like to read at least a little bit into the article before I read it. Sometimes I don't read the whole article because I would rather read it in front of everybody. And if they do conceal the important information at the bottom, that's their fake news. You got to put the bottom line up front. Trust me, you start getting used to putting the bottom line up front, you get really pissed off when other people don't do it because you need to do it or else it's fake news. You can't just put this big blob and then put the important shit down at the bottom where people won't read it. You need to put the stuff up top. Daily Mail, I am shocked with how good a journalism that they put into the bullet points at the top, how much fake news they spew out, because they do an excellent job at credit where credit is due. Their bullet points are awesome. They do, that is good journalism. They just put so many articles out for free that they don't fact check everything. But they do such a good job with this. I think that's such a good job. I'm gonna say that is the best. They do have the best format of all the different companies, but they spew fake news because the business model is prone to fake news. You have to put out Y free articles to get Z subscriptions and to make X profit, and